Hey there, Susan Leahy, professional speaker, motivational speaker, and dedicated, amazing wife. Coming to you. A friend of mine asked if I had anything about how I've been able to manage and sustain my marriage. And I sat back and thought, I've really been wanting to record something about that, but I haven't put anything out there yet quite this explicitly. And so I thought I would just take a stab, put on the old video camera, and let myself talk a little bit because I don't think there's anything more important on the planet than a happy, healthy, loving, and fun marriage. It is the foundation for everything else in your life. When your marriage is bad, everything else is bad. And so it's that sense of how can we really create a marriage and a marriage environment that is self-sustaining and self-generating, because marriages shouldn't deplete your energy, they should add to your energy. And a lot of times you see people in relationships and in marriages, and it's work and it's hard, and people are walking on eggshells, and there's lots of question and doubt and struggle. And I guess what I want to say is I don't think it needs to be that hard, and that marriages should feel good, and that you deserve to feel good. And I'm standing in a place in my marriage where I know that I've earned the right to be able to share this information, because I'm standing in a marriage that feels genuinely good. And it's not because my husband is behaving a certain way, it's because of something that we're co creating from a conscious space. And so I wanted to just share a few of the things that we're doing within our marriage that we've been doing for many years that I think that have helped us kind of stay on that path of being in a positive marriage. So I was going to start with my wedding album. So here's our wedding album. Jared and I got married, it's going to be 10 years ago this year. And what I love is that on the inside cover, and I'm going to show it to you, there is our mission. It's that it says to have a happy, healthy, loving, and fun marriage. And we put that right in the inside cover of our wedding album. And then on the back, you can see a photo there. We're Team, and that's our little nickname for each other, Team Monkey, even spelled our own unique way. And so I think that looking at our marriage from the get-go as something that we needed to create a mission towards, and that we were a team that was working towards creating that mission, I think put us on a really amazing footing. I think a lot of times couples don't have a mission, and so when they get angry and they get mad, it just becomes two individuals struggling. And so when you have a mission statement, like our mission statement, we will be in a happy, healthy, loving, and fun marriage, what that does is it gives you a larger context during your arguments. So now you're not fighting about whatever small thing you're fighting about. You're now fighting towards being in alignment with your mission. You know what, Jared? And this is what I love because it holds me personally accountable. We will be in a happy, healthy, loving, and fun marriage, and I'm not being really fun right now. And so it's that sense of I have to take accountability when I'm not being in alignment. And so I think it's such an easy tool that couples can use to support each other in being a part of a marriage that makes them think and feel the things that they want to think and feel. The next thing that I would say is that couples need to remember that marriages should feel good. That at the end of the day, you deserve to feel good and your partner deserves to feel good. Whenever Jared and I argue, we always start our arguments the same way. It's, baby, I deserve to feel good and you deserve to feel good. This doesn't feel good. And what's amazing about the word good is that when you get to the baseline of good, then every other positive emotion is possible. But if you can't at least get to a space where you're feeling good, then it feels like you just get pulled back down into that quagmire of the blame game, and he said, she said, I don't like this, you're making me feel, and all of that. And so I think that sense of really making sure that both of you are committed to not just your mission, but in that mission that it feels good getting there. Be easy about it. Have fun with each other. And really it's that sense of how can you be your man's motivational speaker? How can you be your own motivational speaker? I want to just share one thing that I think is so important is that when we look at our mate, we can be looking at them either through the paradigm of win versus lose, right versus wrong, good or bad, or we can look at them from the space of win-win. How do I set them up for success? How are they going to walk out of this really feeling like I've got their back? And so one of the things I encourage you to look at in your marriage is, are you stuck in the right versus wrong, win versus lose paradigm? Because that paradigm always yields a winner and a loser. And unfortunately, in this great country and in many places in the world, that's the paradigm and that's the way of thinking that gets played out. And competition is interesting because that's all it is. It's you competing against me. And competition creates endorphins and creates energy, but it doesn't sustain relationships. That you cannot be in a healthy relationship if you are competing with your mate. And so there has to be a real recognition around, are you in competition with your mate, or are you dedicated to really setting them up for a win-win? And that means everybody walks out of the situation feeling good. Let me say that again. A win-win is when everybody walks out going, I'm the winner. So at the end of an argument, your spouse feels good and you feel good. So again, Jared, I don't feel good and you don't feel good. And this doesn't feel good. How are we gonna feel good? And the last thing, there's so much stuff I'm putting into this, and I know I'm just throwing it all out there. I could go a half a day on each of these points. But the last one is, it's so important that you really love yourself. And I think that doing things on a daily basis that will support you in loving yourself will go so far. And we a lot of times wait for our spouse to love us in order for that to fill some hole, but we need to love ourselves. And for me, I look at anytime I get angry, anytime I get frustrated, anytime I get mad, it's a reflection on something that's going on first internally for me. And unfortunately, my mate is the one who's getting the brunt of it. So a lot of times when there's anger that's coming from me and I think it's about something else, it's taking the ownership back inside and realizing that I am creating my own reality and that I am responsible for the relationships that I'm in, and that it's not my mate's responsibility to make me happy. It's my responsibility to make me happy. And it takes a tremendous amount of self-discipline to pull in that and take in that responsibility. And I'll tell you, when you have things like the mission statement, we will be in a happy, healthy, loving, and fun marriage. And when you have a partner who's committed to you feeling good, you deserve to feel good, I deserve to feel good. And when you also have a real deep understanding that this environment, unlike any other environment we're operating in, baby, is a win-win, then you can really start trusting yourself and your partner to start loving yourself and being more vulnerable. So if you are upset, it's no longer about turning outward, it's about asking for support and getting help so that you can move past whatever's going on and step into the vision that you and your partner are up to co-creating. And that's, I guess, the last thing that I'd love to say is that relationships should be about creating something. So many times people get married and the inertia or the circumstantial drift of life just kind of pushes people along, and we forget that we're up to creating something, and creation is exciting. And so what are you and your partner up to creating? And it could be just, an environment at home where you feel like you can laugh. It could be as simple as, we create an environment that is easy and that we feel good and that we feel supported. And so it's, what are you up to creating with your partner? And then a very personal note to my lady friends out there, I think that we forget, because we as women have such accessibility to the world, that we could probably, if I go out on a street corner today and I start crying, 50 people would come to my rescue and ask me if I was okay or if I needed something, just because I was fortunate enough to be born a woman in this great country. If a man stood out on the corner and started to cry, people would walk by and be a little more tentative, and they would kind of stare at him and think that there was something wrong with him. And then maybe eventually one brave soul might reach out. And so I want you to realize that we as women forget that the male experience on this planet is much harsher than the female experience with respects to the amount of compassion, vulnerability, energy, love that's accessible to us. You know, we can get with a group of our girlfriends and talk about our periods and our cramps and our feelings and our anger and our angst and our past and our gossip and our fears and our excitements and our joys, and we can cry. Men don't have that same space. And so part of the piece that I've really embodied within my marriage is taking on the responsibility of knowing that I am my husband's safest space. And I want that space to be a soft space. That doesn't mean I'm not engaged or forward or tell him what I think, but I do it in a way that creates a win-win, always sets him up for success, and lets him know that this is an environment in which he is loved. There's nothing more divine than the true blending of the masculine and the feminine, when men and women can really commit to create strong partnerships. Now, don't even get me started on what that partnership does for the basis of raising amazing children. But I believe that love and partnership and marriage, good, solid, deep relationships, can change the world. Because when you're happier at home, everything else seems brighter. And so I've thrown a lot into this video, and whoever ends up listening to it, I hope that some pieces resonate with you. And again, my name is Susan Leahy, wishing you love and happiness. And I guess I'm wishing you a happy, healthy, loving, and fun whatever you're up to creating. All right? Thank you and have a good night.